What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada, and here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you this morning?
I'm finally good, man. I mean, we both had a real busy time. That's why we've had less episodes than usual. You have the
Yeah.
newborn, and anyone who has children know how that goes. And then I
hmm
got another case of COVID. Finally feeling 100% today. I tested negative yesterday. Was
Good.
ready to go back to work, but they said, "Hey, take one more day just to make sure you're good." And
Yeah.
today I finally woke up feeling like myself. So I'm happy about that. And I know you've got a lot going on in your house, but plenty to be happy about for both of us.
Yeah, man. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. As you said, the baby, my wife, she's a real trooper. She gets up and does all of the labor part with the baby, but I still wake up because, of course, we're all in the same room, But hey, it's okay. We're not gonna cry about blessings, right? A lot going on in sports right now. I want to ask you real fast. What's your opinion on the Deion Sanders situation?
I don't know a lot about it. I'll be honest, as kind of I don't know, I guess from a selfish point of view, I'm
Yeah,
upset that the Pac-12 is getting so good and then it's getting destroyed because he's coming to
yeah,
Colorado, right?
right, right. He's coming
Lincoln
to
Riley comes
Colorado.
to USC. Oregon's been
hmm
good for a while. Washington's pretty good. Utah's been really good, and now Colorado, they're going to turn it around and then they're going to blow the whole thing up. So I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of other things going on as far as people getting upset that he left. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. People have been doing that for 30 years. I mean, if you want to be upset about coach movement in college football, you're 30 years too late. The NCAA could have put a squash to this 30 years ago, but it's out of hand, right? I mean, if they would have made like a transfer portal for coaches the way they did for players 30
Right.
years ago, maybe this wouldn't happen, but it's too late now. So you're complaining. It seems like selective outrage there, and I'm outraged that the Pac-12 is finally going to be able, I don't know about compete with the SEC, but at least be respectable, and then it's getting torn apart. What was your thoughts?
I'm really upset with a lot of people. It's no reason, as you said, to be. It's been going on forever with coaches and coaches movement. He's been honest the whole time and told them that if he received a opportunity, that he'd most likely take it. He said that in 60 Minutes. He said that the whole time he was at Jackson State because, as you know, Deion's goals are much bigger than just coaching FCS football. What a lot of people aren't taking into account is that he's a parent. He has two sons that followed him to Jackson State. His younger son Shadir is a real star in the making at quarterback. This kid can play. He needs the exposure. He needs the reps against good competition to get to the next level that he's trying to reach. That was a lot of the reasoning why Dion left from the situation he was with at the HBCU Jackson State. Another thing people aren't taking into account is that Jackson, Mississippi is one of the most dangerous places to live in America. A lot of people don't know that. It's a lot of gun violence. Uh, it's a very poor and poverty-stricken area. Some might say, okay, well, we need those type of people to stay around and stick around. Why would Deion Sanders do that? This man has been wealthy for a long time now. He has children to consider. His son's car just got burglarized a couple weeks ago on campus. They've broken in Dion's office before and stole money and stole jewelry. He's just around, a pretty, kind of scary situation. And that's why one of the main things he said is his talking points when he was addressing the Colorado team is how much he loved that it was no crime in the Boulder, Colorado area. Like everyone wants their kids and their family in a better situation, man. And it's a win-win for him because now he gets his kids away from the violence that occurs in Jackson, Mississippi. And also, he gets his son on the stage where he can compete against better competition in order to get him to the next level that he wants to be, which is a professional player like his dad was. So, all you guys just running your mouth about Dion and what he should do and what he shouldn't do. Dion gave away half of his salary to upgrade the facilities at Jackson State. As you know, Spread, I was an athlete and a scholarship recipient to HBCU, Grambling State University. I love the students there, I love the people there, but I hated the way the administration ran things. Doug Williams attempted to do what Dion's doing right now about 15 years ago. And the main people who were in in the way of what he was doing was the administration and the board of directors. So um, God bless Dion and what he's doing, and he's bringing all his coaches with him. These guys have been coaching with him since Pee Wee, and now he has them on the big stage. I really like the hires he's made. He got Mike Zimmer as the defensive coordinator, and Sean Lewis from Kent State, former head coach, as his OC. So he's gonna shake some things up in Colorado, and he's very popular with the players. And the reason why he's so popular is because he's hands on and he actually spends time with these guys. So that's why they love him so much. So best of luck to Dion and all he's doing. Come on, let's get to the past, man. We got a lot to break down.
Yeah, let's get started with it. We're going to start with the college football. Utah got the win over UFC, huh?
Yeah,
Pretty good game there. But hey, we talk about bad beat, bad break, bad handicap. When Caleb Williams is limping around like that, I was surprised he was still in the game. So, no, obviously not a college football handicapper myself. I just rely on your picks.
yeah,
But I felt that was a bad break because he wasn't
yeah,
himself out there, and it completely changed the complexion of the game.
yeah. He had one of the most dynamic runs you're going to see in college football, and on that run, he hurt himself. I don't know if I think they said a hamstring. He pulled a hamstring or something, which you already know. If you pull a hamstring, man, it feels like you've been shot in the leg. So you could tell obviously that he was hurt. And then, Utah did what great defenses and great teams did, and they pounced on it. Um, we saw Cam Rising for some reason, maybe because he's from California and he might grew up a USC fan and is a little ticked that they didn't recruit him. He always plays his best football against USC, man. He really looked good. That Utah team is tough. Kyle Whittingham's a great coach. On that one, we got a bad break. I think USC with a healthy Caleb Williams pulls that game out because they were dominating the first
Yeah,
quarter and part of the
I
first
think it was
half until
14
he
to
got
3
injured.
before he got hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before he got hurt. Yep, but it's okay. We move on.
All right, let's talk about Toledo -3 versus Ohio. I was watching that one on the score app, but I didn't watch the game. How did that one turn out?
This one right here was just we're dealing with no quarterback. Curtis Rourke being gone was huge for Ohio. Ohio wins this game pretty easily. If not for that, shout out to Daquan Finn for Toledo, the guy that plays quarterback for them that I told you. Everyone's think is going to jump in the transfer portal. We'll see. I don't know if his name has been put in there yet. I don't think I saw it, but they really want him to come to Ohio State. Their alumni is trying to get him to leave Toledo, but he had a gritty performance. He's nowhere near himself health wise, but he was able to help Toledo get the win on that one. Ohio kept it close. They just didn't have enough firepower with their star quarterback missing.
Fresno State, they were able to get it done.
Yep.
We liked them plus the points there. Didn't even need them as they go into Boise, and that was a dominating performance. Had that one on the TV. I think that was CBS Sports Network. Anyways,
Yep.
pretty good game, and it was fun for me. Obviously, more ties to the Bulldogs here in Sacramento than Boise State, so nice to see them get the
Yeah.
win. What were your takeaways?
Jake Hayner, man, he's a baller. Yeah, he's gonna be one of those guys I think to stick around the NFL as a backup. Fresno State as a proud program. As I told you guys, Boise State was going to struggle to move the ball against them because their quarterback Taylor Green just isn't efficient in the passing game. He's a great athlete, but he hasn't mastered the ability to work from the pocket yet. Where he's going against a guy like Jake Hayner, who's pro ready, man. So just a good pick on our side on that one.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun for me. Kansas State versus TCU, probably the game of the day. Like I said, I didn't watch them all, but I watched that one pretty much from start to finish. It comes right down to the very end. TCU loses by 1, but it was not enough to drop them in the estimation of the committee as they still make the Final Four, which personally surprised me, but I was happy to see it, right? I thought Kansas State looked real good, and those Big 12 games were a lot of fun. They come up short, but they got a chance for redemption here on New Year's Eve. What were your thoughts seeing TCU take on Kansas State?
We always talk about the bad break, bad beat, bad handicap. That's a bad beat, man. Max Dugan scored on second down. On third down, there this is an overtime after a great comeback by Dugan. The running back for TCU is laying on top of a body, so he's not down yet. He stretches the ball over the goal line. They don't even review it, man. We got caught in a public game. Too much public money was on TCU, and you could tell by the refereeing that was going on in the second half. Kansas State is able to pull it out. But as I said, it was just a bad beat because we got 2 scores by TCU that didn't count. But fourth down, I put it all on the coach of the year on that one. He's done a hell of a job. He's just actually won the award, the Eddie Robinson Award for being coach of the year. But he shouldn't have let his OC call that play call on fourth down. There's no way you run a stretch play on fourth and inches. You're from like the half-yard line, man. You quarterback sneak it. You do like Lance Zierlein tweeted the Bush push, where you line up your
Yeah.
quarterback, get your running back to push you in, and make it simple. They try to stretch play, try to get too smart because I guess that they thought that they would be stacked over the center so that the stretch would be open. But it's too much penetration that you're going to get. You got the D lineman firing off low on those and stretch plays. Just not a good call on the goal line. So we got a really bad beat on that one.
Let's talk about. I didn't watch this one at all. UCF took on Tulane. What happened in that one? I missed the whole thing.
We cashed it. That was a great one. We knew the Tulane was hot. They just came off dominating Cincinnati. Tulane's been playing really well, and now they're going to play in the New Year's Six Bowl. First time for that university. So great job by Willie Fritz. He's a hell of a coach. Um, Tulane just has some great talent, man, on the offensive side and the defensive side. They got the revenge on UCF. I feel like it was a fluke early in the year when UCF beat them anyway. But they handled their business this time. We were able to get a easy win, easy cover. They won 35-17. We only gave up 3.5. It might have went off at 4 before the game. But I was all on Tulane on this game, and it worked out well for us.
Yeah, like I said, so don't watch them all, but I cash them with you. So that was nice to see the money in the account. We didn't get the money in the account on this one as LSU got dominated by Georgia. I had it on in the beginning, but it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. I flipped away. How much of it did you watch, and were you surprised that LSU just couldn't keep up?
This was a bad break. Jaden Daniels already was a little dinged up, but he ended up getting hurt and getting pulled out. Shout out Nussmeier, though. He came in and played okay for LSU, the backup quarterback. They were able to put some points up. The weirdest thing about this one, it really was a bad break that Georgia went for 2 to beat us out out of the cover on this one. I don't understand why the hell they're going for 2. I guess they're trying to put up the 50 spot, but I'm sure Brian Kelly and LSU will not forget that show of sportsmanship by Kirby Smart because LSU has dominated the series against Georgia. And after Stetson Bennett leaves, the 30-year-old quarterback for Georgia, I think that they're going to kind of go back down to earth again. I actually am going to fade them in the playoffs coming up, man. I think that Ohio State is resting and will be able to keep up with them and will be highly motivated. But, yeah, just a bad beat on our part on this one because we got a bad break with Jaden Daniels going down, but a bad beat overall for the game because it's no way in hell you're supposed to go for 2 right there. We could have won the cover, got the cover, but it's okay, man. These coaches do some weird stuff sometime, and Kirby Smart definitely did by going for 2 to make them cover the game.
All right, forgive my COVID brain. Purdue was an easy cover, right? They almost won that game.
No, it went just like I told you it was gonna go.
Okay, hold on.
Michigan covered the. Remember, I told you Purdue would cover the first half, and that Michigan will pull away late because after halftime, no one's better in college football than Jim Harbaugh, and that's exactly what happened. He's gonna make sure that they cover so that they can, impress the committee, and they pulled away the fourth quarter. They scored a touchdown with like a minute left, ran it in, and ended up getting the cover, but we were right on this one. Purdue first half, Michigan for the game, and it worked out great for me and the clients.
Man, I can tell because I like when I'm doing my NBA shows this week, there'll be games that I like watched the night before and like I can't even remember who they played, So
man, yeah,
that definitely like does affect you.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of evidence there. Let's move NFL. I might have forgotten some things here too. Looks like Deshaun Watson forgot some things. He did not look good in the debut. Now, fortunately for him, they were playing the Houston Texans, and we've detailed and chronicled their issues this year. Fortunately, it's the NFL. It's not the NBA. I do believe they'll be able to turn things around there quickly in Houston. All they have to do is make a couple of good draft picks. They'll be back on track. But neither team really looked that good. Cleveland scored all their points on either special teams or defense. Watson didn't have a good game. It'll be interesting to see how he looks against the Cincinnati team this week. But what was your thoughts on Deshaun Watson's debut? And Would you be worried if you're a Browns fan giving him all that money, or do you think he's going to get into things?
I'd be a little worried. I think that he's going to be okay after a full off season. He hasn't had enough game reps. He's been out of football basically 2 seasons now, and he doesn't look
Yeah.
anything like the quarterback he left. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Houston, but now all the stuff he has going on in his personal life and dealing with these accusers and things like that. He hasn't been on the football field much, and um, it's showing in his play. They didn't even run the ball well last week, and we'll get into it a little bit later about when they play Cincinnati. But I think Cincinnati is going to take them to the whooping shed this week. But we got the cover. We were on the Browns, just as we talked about. Even though Deshaun wasn't playing that well, his team would play well for him in response to all of the noise from the outside world about him and what occurred. He's a likable dude, and I'm sure they love him in that locker room. And they played for him, and we were able to get the cover.
Yeah, a fairly easy cover, but I think that you hit it on the head. I think it's just football is a sport. You can't stay away for that long a time. In the NBA, these guys are ballers. They just, they can pick up after being off for 18 months. Football, team sport, team chemistry is required. Timing's so important with your teammates, and that was evident. And I think you're right. They might not pay dividends on that contract until all the way till next year. I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah,
if he really has a pedestrian end of the season.
yeah,
Washington was laying points in New York, and the spread actually mattered because the game ended up being a tie. Hey, I'm fine with that. I feel like those
yeah,
teams are fairly even, just as far as how I rank them. Obviously, they're different in the way that they approach the ball. I think that New York's better coach, but especially on the wide receivers, Washington has so much better weapons right now. The Giants' inability to move the ball through the air is really costing them right now. It seems like it's just Saquon or bust as far as their offensive game plan. They get the tie. They're both still alive. They'll play again in 2 weeks, right? Because Washington has the bye, and the Giants will take on the Eagles this week. But yeah, hey, they even had a chance there at the end. It was going to be a 60-yard field goal to outdoors. The difference between being outside and in a dome. Gano probably knocks that home if he's in the Superdome or something. But
yeah.
did you watch that game? I didn't watch the whole game, but I did watch the overtime because that was, it was pretty interesting.
I was in and out on that game. It's so hard to watch both of those teams. They're
Yeah.
not good watches at all. But gritty effort by both teams. Both teams fight, both play hard, but they just don't have a lot of offensive talent. And so it makes the games kind of ugly. But we were able to win this one too. We had the Giants plus the points and money line, so we pushed on the money line, and we were able to win with the plus 1.5. So that's always a good thing.
All right. Yeah, not much to say there. I don't know much to say about this one either. Disappointing performance by the Jaguars. Um, you know, Lions, hey, looking good. They've won 3 in a row, and that was their best win of the season. And I'd say the Jaguars' worst performance of the season. I only watched the first half. Jaguars didn't show up. What were your thoughts?
Remember, I gave out the over on this game. I love betting Detroit overs, especially at home when they're
Yeah.
inside Ford Field on turf. Their offense plays really well. Jared Goff is so underrated. Jared Goff is so underappreciated. I even saw some people trying to say that the Lions are going to take a quarterback, which makes no sense. I think they're going to go with Will Anderson because if we've seen anything, their coach really understands the importance,
Can
especially
you
with them
imagine
being a
him
former
and Hutchinson?
they're going to be together because they're
That would be
coached
so
very
sweet.
sharp on understanding how important line play is in success in the National Football League. That's why he took Panay Sewell instead of going with a wide receiver when they had the opportunity, and Panay Sewell's going to be protecting the backside of Jared Goff the next 5 years, and whoever's the quarterback after Goff for another 5 years. He'll be there 15 years as a starting tackle and probably a future Hall of Famer. He's that good. And you notice the difference in the Lions running game since Panay Sewell came there. And I believe that he's going to definitely go add Will Anderson to go with uh, Aiden Hutchinson. I think these Lions are going to make a lot of noise in the next couple of years. Their coach has just done a wonderful job of building confidence in their team. Right when everybody was about to write them off, now they're getting victories too. We always got the effort from them. But as I was saying, we were able to cash this on the over. Um, and I'll be playing the over again when we talk about it in the present. The Lions are just a good over team, especially at home and on Ford Field. They got some really good weapons on offense. DeAndre Swift is back, and Amon Ra is the St. Brown is the real deal, man. That guy, every game he's getting 15 catches. It seems like, and 150 yards. Him and Jared Goff have great chemistry, man.
Yeah, so yeah, the only way the Lions won't get Will Anderson is they keep winning because they're favored against the Vikings this week.
Yeah.
Vikings got the win against the Jets. Felt like they were rather fortunate. Jets had a chance at the end. I don't know what you think because we've argued about this on the Run Pure shows I've done this week. I felt that some of Mike White's statistics were misleading because at the beginning of the game, when everything was on the line, he didn't play well. Then when they get the huge lead, he leads the comeback, but he still wasn't efficient in the red zone. Now I understand, he hasn't had much time to play, but I'm not ready to just say that this Jets team is ready for, a big playoff run under Mike White. They fall short against the Vikings, and they obviously have a big game this week against the Bills. What were your thoughts when the Jets, it looked like it was going to be a blowout. Credit to Mike White for at least making it close, right?
Yeah, I was very surprised at how they played in the first half. Um, Usually, Coach Robert Saleh has them more prepared. They didn't look like they went into the game in the first half. They fought back, as you said. He's now throwing against prevent defenses and things like that. And of course, Mike White has a ceiling, man. If he was, all of that, he would have been starting from the jump, and he would have been drafted high. So he has a ceiling, but he's a good quarterback. He's a good, serviceable, C-level starter, and with the talent that the Jets have around him. It's enough to win games. I was very surprised that they didn't cover this game because the Vikings defense is horrible. But a pretty good game. Jets fight back. They had plenty of opportunities to win the game and cover, but they came up just a little short.
Right. Titans didn't even keep it close against the Eagles.
No.
AJ Brown revenge game. Titans GM is fired, and he should be. I don't understand how you can't give that guy his money, especially with as weak as the Titans are. Hey, he's done a great job building that team. Vrabel's done a great job coaching it. But that's the type of mistake, right? Like when my guy Vladi passed on Luka, there's certain mistakes you just can't pass on. And you trade AJ Brown for a second-round pick or a first-round pick or whatever they got, regardless. I mean, he's top 10 receiver in the league, and a lot of the catches he was making, I mean, the coverage was perfect. You couldn't have told the cornerback to play it any better, and that's why you pay for a guy like that. So, the Eagles paid for A.J. Brown, and the Titans paid for their mistake because they got absolutely blown out.
Yeah, the Eagles are a very impressive team, especially at home. They're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs. They'll have home field advantage most likely the whole way through the playoffs. I really like what I see from Jalen Hurts. We'll see if he'll be able to handle the playoff pressure when it comes, because as you know, this regular season stuff is cool, but a quarterback is defined by the playoffs. So great job as usual by
right.
that Eagles team.
Yeah, I could see people turning on him if he loses in the first round, like they turned on Lamar.
Yep.
Speaking of quarterbacks, the Niners got the win, but at what cost? As Jimmy Garoppolo goes down, and Shanahan hasn't done well without him here. Now he's got Brock Purdy, and they're saying all the right things. But as we know, it's different for a guy who comes in and the team's completely not prepared. Now you got a week. I'm sure. Who do the Niners play this week?
The Bucks.
Yeah, I'm sure Todd Bowles and the team are going through Brock Purdy's old tapes, looking for flaws. They're going to be prepared. I think they're going to struggle without Jimmy G. And listening to the local Niners beat writers around here, they said it felt like a loss in the locker room. They said it was, for a win of that magnitude, high-profile game, the emotion of facing your former coach. They said it felt like a loss in the locker room, and the team kind of knew what was going on. Now, I'm sure that they've got the week to talk themselves into Purdy, and these guys are professionals, and they're going to give it their all. But I really, felt disappointed for my friends that were Niners fans because I felt like that was their Super Bowl shot kind of going out the window there in the loss. What did you think?
I think that the Niners still have a chance. I like Brock Purdy. I watched him his whole career at Iowa State. He's the best quarterback that the Cyclones ever had. He took them to heights they had never been before. They played New Year's Bowl games with him. He was the leading passer in the Big 12 when he was there. He's very accurate. He has a lot of confidence. I mean, the guy came in without taking any steps with the first team with probably limited reps all week, and he looked pretty good. He looked really confident in his reads. He most of all, he wasn't afraid to play. You know, he wasn't afraid to get hit. I think he's going to be okay, and the reason why is because it takes a whole year for these DCs to get film on these quarterbacks. So he won't have any film on him until the off season. So it's not a lot that these guys are going to be able to do to prepare for him, because you can look at the Iowa State tape, but what good is that going to do? Because Shanahan wasn't his coach at Iowa State, you know. So I think Brock Purdy's going to be okay because that defense is lights out. D'Amico Ryans is the assistant coach of the year. I'm sure he'll be a head coach next year. I'm hoping the Texans go pick him up, or if he's willing to go there. This guy is doing a great job. I don't Their second half, the 49ers defense has just been, my goodness, you know, like how do you block them? So they're gonna be in a bunch of little ugly games, and as long as Brock Purdy can make a couple of plays in the red zone, they'll be okay, man, because you got all of these weapons that they have on offense that they can go to. They run the ball well and they rely on defense. So I think Brock Purdy's gonna be okay. I actually, after I saw him, I had forgotten about him, man. I couldn't believe that he was Mr. Irrelevant. I can't believe he went so low with the need for quarterback in this league. And also, he's more of the style of quarterback that Shanahan likes than Trey Lance is. So I think Brock Purdy's going to make a nice little run in this end of the year, and put some eyes on his talent, man, and let people remember that he was a really good player, man. And not only in Arizona in high school, where he was the number one player in the state, but at Iowa State too.
All right. Well, we'll see how that one turns out. Obviously, you're a lot more familiar with these younger players than I am. Hey, I didn't want to bet against Patrick Mahomes, but you said the Bengals were going to get it done, and that was the case. Joe Burrow, his guy Jamar Chase, looked great, and sometimes a win is more than a win, right? That's more than one win. I know the standings you only get one win, but that's got to feel great for the Bengals. It feels like now it's a 3-horse race in the AFC. Apologies to Dolphins fans, but it feels like it's either going to be the Bills, the Bengals, or the Chiefs, and they really proved their worth, and they get another win against Kansas City.
Yeah, another great job by um, the Bengals, just playing a full team game. You always have their offense, which is going to come through and make key situational plays. But man, their defense is so underrated. They held Patrick Mahomes from scoring in the entire fourth quarter. I mean, how many times has that happened this season? He could not make a play when it was needed to get Kansas City over the hump, and that just goes all the way back to, once again, their scheme and their coaching staff. I'm really, really impressed with everything that the Bengals are doing, and in my opinion, they're my favorite to come out the AFC. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on futures. We revisit the ticket that I bought a couple weeks ago.
All right, Colts and Cowboys. COVID got me. I fell asleep. Looks like I didn't miss much. What happened?
It was close through the first quarter and most of the second quarter, and it was a crack in the dam at the end of the second quarter when Matt Ryan throws an interception. I know anyone, I didn't bet this game, but anyone who had first half Colts +7 or were highly pissed, because all they had to do was just run the half out. They try to let Matt Ryan throw. He throws an interception that leads to the Cowboys scoring the touchdown. And I was totally pissed because I'm in a tight race in my fantasy football league, and my homie that I was playing had the Cowboys defense. These
Oh, wow.
guys, dude,
Like
they had like
27 points.
what? No, like 40.
Yeah, it
Like
was
40
stupid.
points. They scored a touchdown, like maybe two touchdowns, I want to say. They had about 5 turnovers and about 8 sacks. So it's just the Colts just aren't good, man. The offensive line is terrible. It's a joke that Jeff Satter's the coach over there. He's sitting over there looking so lost, and they fired one of the better coaches in the league. We talk a lot of this about Frank Wright, but one thing we knew about Frank Wright is he knew what he was doing, man. He didn't have the team sometimes to put on the field to get the results he wanted, but everyone knows Frank Wright is a good coach, man, and a much better coach and more prepared to coach than Jeff Saturday, man. So we don't know what's going on in Indianapolis. I just saw an article about Andrew Luck. I guess they're trying to do everything they can to try to get him to come back. He's never coming back, though. He doesn't want to deal with that mess. So I think the Colts are are just about to get worse and worse as the years go by, man. They're not in a really favorable position right now. And the Cowboys are fool's gold. We see this every year. They beat up on sorry teams. That's what they do. When the playoffs start, we'll see that Dak isn't that guy. He's Danny White. I keep telling people that.
I liked it anyway.
I
But
liked I liked him too, but he didn't win anything.
yeah, that was back when they didn't call for a quarterback's head every out the end of every offseason, right? I mean, he was like
How
above
many
average.
NFC championship games did that guy lose? He probably lost
Yeah,
so many. And remember he was a quarterback and a punter.
yeah. I know you were pissed at your coach. Boy, that was malpractice on Monday night. I'll be
Oh
honest, I
goodness.
didn't really have much interest in that game. And I was watching my NBA because I had a lot of money on NBA that night. And my guy Big T tweets out, Brady runs so good. Mark Ingram runs out of bounds. Because I checked the score. It was 16-3. And I'm like, oh, wow, Saints won. Good for them. And then when he tweeted that, I said, oh, Brady going to do it again. So I flipped over. I watched the comeback, and you had to be pissed. Hey, credit to Tom Brady, but that was completely unnecessary. You shouldn't have been in that position. And Dennis Allen's probably going to be one and done.
I actually was elated. I was far from pissed because I gave the clients the Bucks money line, and
Oh,
I
wow.
also yeah,
Okay.
and I took them live because I know that everything that's going on with the Saints I want to end. I don't
Mm.
want Dennis Allen there next year. So if they win this game, they might make the playoffs, and he might get another year. If they win this game, Andy Dalton might get re-signed, and they might move forward with that tandem. And I want that duo out of New Orleans. So it was important for me to see the Saints lose this game. It's kind of like I'm thinking long term. Long term, I do not want those two guys involved with my franchise. DA can go back to being a DC. If you want to be the defensive coordinator and they bring in a guy who knows what he's doing, that's cool. But I'm over Dennis Allen as a head coach, man. He's not the one. And if I have to look at Andy Dalton again in a Saints uniform, I think I'm gonna puke. He keeps up his streak of now he's 13 straight losses in prime time.
Wow. All right. Kirk Cousins got nothing on that. Let's talk about
No.
this weekend's game. Navy's -2.5 versus Army. And of course, I think that total's 33 because it's gone under like 37 years in a row or some
Yeah.
ridiculous trend.
Yeah, it's
Are
crazy.
you betting on this game? It feels like the trend should be over every year, but then every year the score keeps getting lower.
Yeah, I actually will be betting this game, and I actually like Navy in this game, man. I know that Army has the better record, but I just really like Navy's coach, and I like their quarterback that's playing. They can pass the ball a little bit better than Army. Both teams are one of the best Russian teams in NCAA football. This game's always good. It's always cold, little snow. You got the soldiers out there. It's a boring brand of football, but somehow it still ends up being an interesting game. So I'll be tuned in, but I'll definitely be playing Navy -2.5. I like Navy a lot in this one.
All right, let's talk about tonight's NFL game. The Raiders are now -7 at the Rams, and there's rumors that Baker Mayfield might start. Wow, if it was any other teams, it seemed like it'd be a smash spot. But boy, the Raiders love to blow the spot. They couldn't even beat Jeff
Yeah,
Saturday, right?
nope.
Um, so I don't know what to do with this game. I haven't bet it yet. Also, I'm wearing my Raiders gear, right? So
Yeah.
I am biased here. Unbiased opinion. How do you approach this game? How do you bet it?
The only way I'm betting this game is unfortunately I got to take the pipsqueak. I got to go with McVay at home with the points. They've been pretty competitive. Uh, their defense still has a somewhat pride. You still got Jim Ramsey on the back end. He's still cursing people out on the sidelines. He, doesn't want to get embarrassed. So I know that the Raiders will put up points against the Rams, but I also think the Rams figure out a way to put up points against the Raiders as well. Even if it's a backdoor cover, I even think if Bryce Perkins is the quarterback or Wolford, whoever starts for the Rams will be able to put up points against the Raiders just because the Raiders have not shown that they could be a lights out defense and shut people down. Their defense is horrible against the pass. They're 30th ranked and they're 27th ranked in total yards, 26th ranked, giving up 25 points per game. There's no way. I lean a little bit to the over on this game, but for sure, if I'm playing a side on this game, I'm going with the Rams plus the points, much as it pains me. to bet on Baker Mayfield and Nick Vase. Just too many points. The Raiders shouldn't be laying 7 points against anyone.
All right, the Browns will be in Cincinnati. Browns are only laying. I mean, Bengals are only laying 6 there. We talked. We're a little worried about Deshaun Watson. Boy, he was able to have a bad game last week. Don't think he's gonna be able to pull that off this week. What are your thoughts?
Just I hate to be with the public because we got burnt last week dealing with the public. My football acumen says that I'm all over Cincinnati on this game. It's going to be probably my biggest play on NFL this week will be the Bengals -6. I already actually put it in, and the reason why is because one, we have a better team and a better quarterback with the Bengals, but also we have a major revenge factor right here going. That angle is huge in this game because do you know the Browns have beaten the Bengals 5 straight times?
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, Burrow hasn't had much success against the Browns at all. He's never beaten them since he's been the quarterback there. He's an Ohio kid. He knows how big these games are in that state. So I really expect to see the best out the Bengals this week. They're hitting their stride. As long as they can slow down Nick Chubb, because we know that the Browns are going to try to run the ball. They didn't have much success last week against the Texans, so they will be trying to run the ball. But the Browns are horrible on defense, man. They're yielding a lot of points each game. They only gave up 14 to the Texans and 17 the week before. But with that said, they're still one of the worst teams. They're 27th worst at points allowed. They're still with those two low scoring affairs. They're still giving up 25 points per game. I think that Burrow and those receivers light up the Browns' defensive backfield, and when they get on them early, I don't see Deshaun Watson having enough to get the Browns back in the game by passing the ball. So as long as the Bengals shut down the run and get on them early, I think they pull away. The Bengals are 4-0 against the spread in their last four at home. They're 9-3 against the spread this year. They're one of the best cover teams the last 2 years we've seen in NFL history, man. They're a really good team. I just really think with the revenge angle, with the amount of times they've lost, that their coach Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow are going to be really focused this week. So I love the Bengals -6.
Surprised to see the Lions favored by 2.5 over the 10-2 Vikings.
Not at all. Not at all. Uh, you saw the last time that they faced each other in Minnesota. Actually, the Lions should have won that game. Had an unbelievable comeback by the Vikings in that game. With that said, I won't be playing the side. I don't trust either side on this game, but I will be on the over. These teams are over teams all day because both of them really struggle on defense and have really impressive offenses. Man, the Vikings are the over 6-1 in their last 7 games in December, but more impressive is 10-2 on field turf. So the Vikings are over team all day. We got the Lions allow the most points in the NFL. They give them 27 points a game, but they're averaging 32 points in their last 4 games offensively. So I've already locked that one in. I wouldn't be surprised if that over is up to 54 by Sunday, but I got it at 52, and I suggest anyone who can get it at that number grab it now. This is going to be a fireworks show. It's going to be a shootout. The Lions will not be able to slow down Justin Jefferson, but just the same, the Vikings secondary will not be able to stop Jared Goff and Amon Ross St. Brown and DeAndre uh, Swift out the backfield and things like that. And Jamal Williams has been really running the ball well. So I really expect this game to go over 52.
All right. I talked my reservations about Mike White, but 10 points is way too many in my mind for a divisional game. Unless you're absolutely terrible, and the Jets aren't. The Jets are a fairly good team. I like taking the points here. What are your thoughts when the Jets are +10 in Buffalo?
One thing about this game that I need to check is the weather. I have not checked the weather on this game to see what's the weather going to be like. So it's not going to be good. It's going to be rainy and cold. So it's looking like it's going to be about 37 degrees. The humidity is going to be at 97, which means it's going to be raining. Oh man, it's going to be an ugly game here. The over and under is 44 on this game. This one's a tough one, man. It's a stay away from me. But if I had to play a side, I got to take double digits with Robert Sala, especially with Them coming off a bad performance last week against Minnesota, and it's not going to be hard for the Jets to get up for Buffalo. But Buffalo also has the factor that they lost to the Jets. But I just think Josh Allen's hurt, man. He's hurt a lot more than he's telling people. He hasn't looked the same since that injury, and I don't know what's going on with their passing game right now. I mean, it seems like Diggs is the only guy he can throw the ball to. All the other receivers, Gabe Davis has just disappeared, man. I don't know what has happened to him. Um, so, like you said, the 10 points is the only way I'd lean, but it's a stay away from me. I probably just watch this one.
All right, let's talk about the Ravens at the Steelers. Steelers now laying points. I don't know. I know Lamar Jackson's awesome, but I don't think Huntley's that bad. I think he's an okay replacement. And one smart thing they did is he plays a similar style. So it's not like they're having to adjust to like having a statue back there after having Lamar. They can run their same playbook. I'm really surprised to see the Ravens catching 3. And I love the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, but I was still surprised about that one. What are your thoughts?
A lot of people don't know the Steelers have won 4 straight against Baltimore, and I think that continues. I'll be on the Steelers on this one. This went up to
Okay.
-3 plus 105. I like Kenny Pickett, man. He's getting real comfortable at being a quarterback. It'll be low scoring, but I think he'll be able to make more plays than Huntley. Huntley's he's a decent backup, one of the better backups. But even when Lamar was there, the Ravens just are struggling on offense, man. They need to think about getting another OC. They
They
don't
haven't
look
had a wide
good.
receiver score a touchdown since week 3.
It's unbelievable how terrible their passing game is, and you're not gonna just line up and run it all over the Steelers. The Steelers
Yeah.
defense is getting back healthy. They got Fitzpatrick back, and they got
TJ.
TJ Watt back. So I don't know, man. They're a proud team, and you know that their catcher's team, they beat the hell out of Atlanta last week, and Mike Tomlin is starting to see like, you guys counted me out thinking I was gonna have a losing season. He's up to 5-7. He's looking at going at least 9-8. I'm thinking now. So I don't think the Steelers let this one pass up. They have a good history against them. Uh, they never have a hard time getting up to play against them. And Tomlin is owned Harbaugh, man. So at home, I really like the Steelers in this game.
All right, the Eagles are -7 at the Giants. I ran my numbers earlier this week. Eagles were big edge for me, even though they're laying 7 on the road. Usually we don't do that in a divisional game. But look at last week and look what this Eagles defense can do against a one-dimensional offense. That's what the Giants are to me. I haven't bet it yet, but to me it's Eagles or no play. What are your thoughts?
I'd be with you on that one. I probably won't play it, but if I had to play it, I'd most likely be on the Eagles. But for me, it's a stay away. It's just too many
They're almost
moving
the same
parts in
team,
this
right?
game.
They got a really good running
Yeah,
back and no wide receivers and an average quarterback. I like
yeah.
Jones a little more than Tannehill, but still, it don't matter if you got no one to throw to.
Got no one to
Um,
throw to. Eagles are hitting on all cylinders right now, so it's Eagles or pass for me.
Yeah, the Chiefs laying 9.5 at Denver. Denver, all the offensive struggles have been documented. The Chiefs don't have the best defense. Maybe it's a chance for them to get back on track, but we've been saying that about Denver all year. One thing we can count on the Broncos that the defense will be good. I don't know. I'm not as excited to lay the 9.5 there. I know the Chiefs should be fired up coming off that loss, but I don't know. This one's just screams stay away to me. What were your thoughts?
Same with me. I'm staying away from this game. But the only reason why you think that Mahomes will be fired up, but the Chiefs haven't been covered, man. Their last 10, they're 2-7-1 against the spread, so they
Yeah.
never cover. So it's just gonna be hard for me, and I'll never bet on Russell Wilson and the clown coach that he has over there. I'm just not gonna trust Nathaniel Hackett to do anything. I wouldn't trust him with any bet. Like I just don't think that guy could coach at all. I think that they just suck. They're one of the worst watches in the NFL. I can't even stand watching their game. So I probably won't even watch this game, man. Honestly, I just don't like watching the Broncos play.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Bucks are at San Francisco. Brock Purdy makes his first debut as the starter. Brady got that miracle win, but I don't think Kyle Shanahan and his boys are going to be so generous. Niners laying 3.5 here with the backup. What do you think?
I like the Niners on this game. I don't see how the Bucks score. How do they score? They're struggling on offense to move the ball. They're struggling to block for Brady. As you saw last week, the Saints were all in his lap every time he dropped back. So what do you think he's gonna get this week with the 49ers. Also, Brady's kind of milled it in on Tampa Bay. You could tell he's going somewhere else next year. He's about to become a mercenary and just move around and do the LeBron thing. Him and LeBron probably, I've already talked about it. They're really cool like that about, hopping around and go to different teams and win with the team, do the Vaughn thing, where I go to the team
Maybe
that's
he'll be
it's
on the team he's facing this week.
he will be. He will be. I would
He
not
grew
doubt it
up
at all.
here. He grew up
Yeah.
here. He grew up in San Mateo,
His
which
dream
is
was to play for the Niners. That was
his
his
favorite. His
dream.
favorite quarterback is Joe Montana. So
His favorite quarterback's Joe Montana. So don't be surprised if he says the hell with this season. These guys can block, and Todd Bowles is a doofus. And he
let
just
me go
gets
play
out
with
the way.
Debo and McCaffrey and Ayuk. Yeah, he'll have a good time there
Yeah,
for
come
sure.
on, man. He have a good time. But Brock Purdy, like I said, I think he gets it done. The Bucks are defense is good, but they're not dominant enough, I think, to stop Purdy from moving the ball enough. It's gonna be a real low scoring game. All the Bucks games are, but the Niners offense will be able to put up enough points to cover this game. So I'll be on the Niners -3.5. I'll probably buy the half a point and just make it a -3.
All right. Well, last week you gave out this Bengals win Super Bowl at 1,800, win AFC at 900. But let me take this off the ticker because that price is long gone after the win.
That's right.
Let's talk about the Bengals. And I said it earlier. Now it's a three-way race in the AFC, and I think you can make a good case for all three teams. And you got the team with the most equity if you're wagering. So it feels like it's like 33% for each team. But you got a great number there. How are you feeling about this Bengals future?
Hey, I foreshadow. We gave people the heads up that after they beat Kansas City, that the numbers would change. Now, the Bengals have dropped to +600, +550 some books to win the AFC, and they're down to +1,200 to win the Super Bowl. It's clear as day, man, that they have one of the better clutch quarterbacks in the league. And as I said, it coincides beautifully with an opportunistic defense that's situationally good, that plays really well after halftime, and a really rugged running game. They run the ball really well with all three of their running backs, and they have a good coach. Zach Taylor is a really good coach. Um, they win a lot of games the old school way. With all that talent they have at receiver, they still win the old school way, which makes it perfect where Burrow just has to make a couple plays when necessary. It's almost the Patriots formula that they used when Brady was winning, man. So we're feeling real strong about our future bet on this Bengals. And man, we told you guys. That's all I can say is we told you to get the price before the number changed. It's still not too late to get in, but the value has dropped almost half.
Let's give them more winners. Ball and parlay. You got an FCS game here. Where do I even
Yeah.
watch this after I place this bet?
So you're gonna watch it on ESPN Plus. You
Plus,
got the
okay.
package. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
package, so you won't have a problem at all getting that. This one is gonna be a real fun game, man. You got the 11-1 Incarnate Word Cardinals. They're traveling to Northern California, to your area, to play Sacramento State. You live right there in Sacramento. Don't know anything
Yeah, my
about the
buddy's on the
Hornets.
team. No, my buddy's son's a running back on the team.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm having to fade them this week. They're giving up too many points, man. They're giving up 7 against a really explosive team. Incarnate Word leads the FCS in scoring points. They average 55 a game. They got the best player in FCS, Lindsey Scott Jr. He transferred in from Nicholls State to replace Cam Ward, that plays at Washington State, and their offense hasn't missed a beat. If anything, they're scoring more points now than Lindsey Scott there. This kid is dynamic. He's short. If he wasn't short, he'll be an NFL player. I don't know if the NFL is going to give him a chance now because he's only 5'11", which means he's probably 5'9", because he looks really short on TV, but he has a missile for an arm. He's strong and he's really electric running the ball, but he sits in the pocket and beats you from there, man. He's accounted for 63 touchdowns this season. You guys in Sacramento State aren't bad either. They average 41 points a game, but the difference is going to be defense. Incarnate Word has a defense that's pretty good, man. They're 57th ranked in total yards, but most importantly, they're 5th ranked at sacks. They can get to the quarterback. So with the type of team that Incarnate Word has, if they can get up early and score and make Sacramento State get out of their run game, Sacramento State goes with dual quarterbacks. They use one of the quarterbacks. He transfers from, I believe believe that kid came from Middle Tennessee State, O'Hara. He's a runner first, and then the other guy is the thrower that they have over there. So they do the little platoon and quarterback, and it's worked well for them because they're 12-0. But I just feel like if Incarnate Word can get on them early and make it where they have to throw the ball, they'll be in trouble. G.J. Kinney is the coach for Incarnate Word. He's already accepted the job at Texas State, so I'm sure he's going to be fired up to go out with a bang in his one and done season there as the coach. He's a really bright mind. He actually was a professional quarterback. He quarterbacked for the Jets and the Eagles. He's only 34, and he's quickly moving up the coaching ranks. So keep an eye on G.J. Kinney. His dad was a great linebacker at Baylor. But I like Incarnate Word. There's no way that they should be getting 7 points. I know Sacramento State is strong, but Sacramento State has had a really soft schedule. The only team that they beat from the FBS was Colorado State, and we know Colorado State isn't good at all. Incarnate Word has a lot of Texas recruits, a lot of guys that it just wasn't enough room to get in at UT and Texas A&M, and they got a lot of speed, 2,000-yard receivers, and as I said, Lindsey Scott. I got to look it up. He might have won because they gave out the award last night for the Walter Payton Award. That's the Heisman of the FCS. I believe he won because he was the favorite to win that. But I really, really like Incarnate Word +7, guys. It's something to watch. Hey, we got my girl Dasha showed up. Yeah. So anytime she shows up, it's a good omen. So
Yeah, we
there
gonna
we
win
go.
now.
Yeah, we're going to win for sure. So we're going with Incarnate Word +7, and I'm also personally taking them +250. I think they can pull it outright. They're a really good team. I respect Sacramento State and what they're doing out there, but I don't know if they're going to be able to contain Lindsey Scott.
All right, and to the listeners, if you're in the Sacramento area and you see me at the game, we won't talk about this wager when we're at the stadium. All right, guys. So there you have it. That's your pick. I actually didn't like the NBA board tonight, but this is the biggest edge when I ran my numbers. I actually wouldn't mind staying off this altogether, though. But I did have an edge here, and it's the Heat and the Clips, and it's over 214. The Clippers might be a tired team coming off that overtime loss, and a lot of times you think, oh, tired, they're not going to shoot. Well, a lot of times they just don't defend. And right, no matter how tired these guys are, they can still make some layups. The Heat have been struggling as well, and a 214 in this new NBA is a real low total. Could get stung here, but I projected it around 219. It was the only real edge I even had on the NBA today. I had the Houston Rockets and San Antonio Spurs almost exactly what the books lined it at, and same with the Nuggets and the Blazers. I showed a slight edge to the over there, but this one was bigger. So I took the Heat and the Clippers over tonight.
Yeah, dude. You got to always worry about the Clips catching that Miami flu. When those West Coast teams go to Miami, they
sometimes
like
I think that's better,
in.
though. I think it's better because then they just get lackadaisical on defense.
Exactly. Ty Lue, Ty Lue is my boy, so I know how he gets down too. He's like one of the players. He's a great coach, but he's a cool guy. He's still a young man, so he might just
play. Pissed they went to overtime. They got into Miami even later.
Yeah, so now he's probably going. Hey, now he's probably going to have the scrubs in about the third quarter. Miami could just score at will. So I would.
I was already expecting that because PG and Kawhi both played last night. But
oh yeah, they went out last night. They went out for sure. They went out for sure.
I think the lower guys will actually lead to more offense. Even though those guys are great scorers, they're good defenders as well. So you take them off the court. Hopefully it equals points. But both teams have been really tough to project. That's why I don't necessarily love this play, but it's the biggest edge I have for the day. So there you have it. We made it through on time. We are back. It's going to be a little slower schedule now. 5 Stars got the baby. I'm working here, doing the holiday hours, getting some extra money and getting back on my benefits. But we're still here for the people and still giving them the winners.
Yeah, man, and after we get through Christmas, when we get back in January, we're going to start back going daily. When we do basketball season, we do a quick show about 15 minutes every day and give you guys basketball plays. My models have been doing really well on the college basketball, and you guys know the Spread is one of the best NBA cappers in the whole country. So it's time to transition. Before you know it, man, football season's here and gone. We'll be back with you guys next week. We'll probably get on twice next week. We have a couple guests that are waiting to come on, man. But unfortunately, due to the schedules, we missed them. But we get the bowl season kicks off next Friday, so we'll definitely be on here next week. And we look forward to talking to you guys. Follow my guy at Spread Astaire. Follow me at 5 Star in Vegas. Spell out the 5. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's kill it this week. Best of luck to you all.